Okay, my name is Rene Kural. I'm the Danish director of the Center for Sports and Architecture at the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts. We have a basic financial aid from the Sport and Culture Foundation, and the Kunstakademisk the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts. But we are also able to find 2 or 3 times the same amount by doing other jobs for municipalities, ministries, and other foundations. This is what we do. Basically, we try to research, we publish, and we are an advisory body. We come up with good ideas. This is a tower for sports that we have created. It's a little bit crazy because you run outside the tower to the top of it where you can have your lunch. And you have the beautiful view of Copenhagen. So I started to tell you that I'm an architect, and being an architect, you are always insecure. You never know if the solution that you come up with, like this tower here, is the right one, or it should be different. Compared to, for instance, a journalist, they always know that they are right. Being an architect, you never know if you are right or wrong. So let me give you an example. This morning, I didn't know if I should put on a necktie. Should I or shouldn't I? So I leave it up to you. Who are in favor of no necktie? Thank you so much. Who are in favor of necktie? Great. I'll leave it here. Anyway, I will start with what do the Danes do and where do they do it when they do sport and exercise. Because one thing is that we think they do it in a sports hall, or we think they do it in the street, but it might be possible to know what they actually do. And I've had some good help from Idræts- og Analyseinstitut and Maja Pigård, who is present here today, I think. And when we look at what children do, it seems that they are actually gathering around traditional activities, which means that the top 3 activities for children, that would be soccer, it would be swimming, and gymnastics. And it means that a standard hall would be perfect for those activities. So let's build some more standard halls. But when they become 11, 12, 13, the pattern changes. Let's look at what they do: soccer, swimming, gymnastics, roller skating, handball, etc., etc. But when it comes to grown-ups, those among you who are Danish, it's a different picture. It's leisure walking, jogging, strength training, gymnastics, aerobic, etc., etc. Things that do not happen in the common standard hall, but happens in the squares and in the streets, in the parks. If you look at what people do when they are 16 to 70 years old, it's really an interesting pattern. Let's have a look at soccer. When you're 40 years old and you're a guy, you don't want to play soccer anymore. You get fragile. But when you look at, let's say, gymnastics, you do it when you're young. Sorry, that's the wrong one. This one, you do it when you're young, and then again when you grow older. And looking at leisure walking, not so much when you're young, but it increases like this. So actually being an architect and being so insecure as I just presented myself to be, we have to look at what kind of facilities should we sort of build for the Danish community. If you compare, you ask people, how long do you travel to go to sports? It turns out that quite few have under 5 minutes, but quite many do have from half an hour and more than 45 minutes. But if you ask them, if there were better facilities where you live, would you do more sports? And not surprisingly, those with 15 and 30 minutes and more, they answer, yes, I would be more physically active. Especially the children. And we explain it by that children very often need to be driven by the grown-ups to the sports facility where they want to do their sports. They would really prefer to be independent of mom and dad. It's less for the grown-ups because they can go whenever they want. So, to conclude, Maya, do you want to read it yourself or? Okay, so what I got out of the data is that she says that there is a clear correlation between the time that spent on transportation and that you want to be more physically active. Being, if you had a facility close by, you would be physically more active. And she says, we also have to consider or reconsider infrastructure. And we've heard a lot about bicycle lanes. How do we transport ourselves to sports facilities? And I'm going to show you a few examples of what we think is necessary to do. I'm going to sum up. Because if we look at why do people in Europe, why do they want to be physically active? Where, in which space do they do it? What kind of activity do they do? And what do the facility look like in 2007? I would say it's for health and well-being, and for the children, friendship and experience. I would say, where? Close to home. Easily accessible. And facilities in quotation marks, because it's not a normal facility. But it's body cultural activities, not necessarily Olympics. I mean, it's not one person who would ever come to London or to Commonwealth Games, I'm sorry again, but it's less than, I would say, a fraction of a percentage maybe. And finally, what kind of facilities should be built? Yeah, I would say modern, flexible, qualitative facilities. So, let me give you 3 cases. We had the pleasure of being part of a competition about a big, huge green area in Copenhagen called Kløvermarken. And it looks like this. To the left, you have Christiania, and our office is somewhere here. And this is Kløvermarken, a huge green area consisting of mainly just soccer fields. That's all. But the good thing about Kløvermarken is that you have the beautiful skyline of Copenhagen. History speaks from Kløvermarken to the spectator. You can see all the towers we have in Copenhagen in this area. So of course the municipality is very keen on keeping this place as it is. But you might have met Bjarke Ingels, who is the architect who had a show last night. He came up with this idea because the mayor, the Bjerregaard, she had an idea when she was going for the election last time. She promised the people in Copenhagen that she would build 5,000 cheap apartments to 5,000 kroner per month. It was for the policeman, it was for the teacher, it was for the nurse, and 5,000 apartments or housing. Just 5,000 Danish kroner. She failed. I think she built around 20 or 30 cheap apartments. And Bjarke Ingels came up with the idea that he would build like a fort around Kløvermarken, a fort of housing. But of course they couldn't give him the task, so they made a competition, architecture competition, and we participated with the Chinese Vandkunsten and Clark, and came up with this idea, and we won. We were so lucky to win this competition. And from the beginning, we were very clear about this being a space for doing sports and exercise. And we were very clear on the target groups, because there were 3 target groups. Those who want to play soccer and tennis on an elite level, those who want to have fun, and those who want to have good health. And this is what we came up with. Everywhere in this city, you could be